Welcome to the Carriker Chronicles, the People Show. Checking the pulse of Husker Nation, brought to you by DPS Concrete Construction. Check them out at dpsconstruction.net, also carrikerchronicles.com. Ladies and gentlemen, smash that like button if you're pumped like I am that Nebraska found a way to win, beat Cincinnati, and they're 1-0 to start the 2025 season. You can see the stadium behind me. I mean, this is my point of view. That's the stadium behind me right there, ladies and gentlemen. As always, if you have not done so yet, make sure you know what? Nebraska is going to be 3-0. With all due respect to Houston Christian and Akron, we're going to be 3-0. If you're excited, and I don't want to put the cart before the horse, but if you believe Nebraska is going to be 3-0 and you ain't subscribed to this channel yet, then go ahead and subscribe to this channel and ring that notification bell. Less than 50% of the people who watch the videos on this channel are subscribed and have the notification bell on. If Nebraska's going to be 3-0 in your mind, subscribe. Ring the notification bell. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here's the deal. Blow me up in the light chat. Let me know your thoughts. What did you like? What did you not like? I like that we won. Hey, there's things to work on. There's things to improve. There's things to get better. Yeah, that's what game ones are for. I just wanted to get a win. Yeah, I predicted 35-20. I'll take 20-17. I'll take 2-1. Not that that's possible. I'll take 3-2. I take a win because imagine if we didn't. Now we're rolling into Michigan. Again, most likely 3-0. I don't want to put the cart before the horse, but we should be able to beat Akron, Houston Christian. All right, let me know your questions, your thoughts, your comments, your concerns, your reactions in the live chat. It's blowing up already. John O'Reilly, that was way tense, but love that the black shirts ended it. Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. You know, I'm just going to give you a little bit of a view behind me here. Look at that. Look at that, ladies and gentlemen. What is it, past midnight, whatever it is? Who cares? I'm not going to get to bed till 1, 2 in the morning. Who cares? Woo! All right. Let's dive into this. Let's do our thing. And I want to get to your questions, your comments, your thoughts, your concerns. I turned on members this year. You can be a member. I turned on super chats if you want to do those types of things. I'm going to be honest with you. That's a whole brand new world to me. So I'll figure that out as we're going along. All right. As you know, I kind of take you on before the game, during the game, throughout the game, after the game, and then we dive into the reaction of the game. I was impressed. Cincinnati they lost 5 in a row to end the season. They were 5-7 last year. They didn't have many guys transfer. Their quarterback, a baller, a football player, Brennan Storesby came back. Their tight end, who is a weapon, Joe Royer came back. Their nose tackle, Dante Corleone, who could have gone to the SEC and made millions, came back. So kudos to Scott Satterfield. All right, for building something. They said they stayed because they liked their coach. So kudos to him for building something that the players like. Now, in the stadium, it was 10-1 Nebraska fans to every Cincinnati fan I saw. It was more like 19-1, like 95% Nebraska fans. All right, the Go Big Red Chants started early in the game, and I just loved it. I was walking up and down the hallways. People were randomly giving me high fives. It was great. Today's captains, all right, for the game were Derek Branch, Marquise Buford Jr., Henry Latufsky, and Dylan Ariola. Also, shout out to Nash Hutmaker. His mom, Laura Hutmaker, put on Facebook earlier today, all right, that he officially signed to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers practice squad. His NFL dream lives on. Also, here's a picture. Former Nebraska great Neil Smith, black shirt All-American, and Kansas City Chief, All-Pro, Super Bowl champ, and Patrick Mahomes before the game, ladies and gentlemen. Lots of cool things about the game today. Now, the black shirt started the game today. They allowed a first down. Then a second first down was eliminated by a false start penalty, okay, that Cincinnati had. Cincinnati had some penalties early on, and it kind of helped the black shirts out. The black shirts found their groove, and then later on, we'll talk about a little bit later on in the video. I do want to get to your comments. I'm going to go through this quick. Okay, stay with me. I want to go through this quick. Nebraska starts with the ball at our 12-yard line. Oh, somebody told me the Scott Frost first game back at UCF got delayed to via lightning. I was like, are you serious? Are you messing with it? He's like, no, I'm dead serious. I guess lightning does strike twice. Ominous. All right, we shall move on. Nebraska's first drive is stalled. Okay, after an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty, Henry Latufsky shoved a guy after the play. It's early juices. Got to be more disciplined, though. Okay. He gave us half the distance to the goal line. The Huskers ran 6 plays for 25 yards, 3 and a punt. All right, unfortunately, we punted 3 passes, 3 runs. Cincinnati's next possession, 45-yard field goal. They have one of only 2 kickers in America that made all of their field goals a year ago. He made 4 from 40 plus. He was 11-11 on the year and 3 from 50 plus. He makes a 45-yard field goal, okay, to put them up 3-0. Now, Deshaun Singleton at this point, we're like midway through the first quarter, already had 6 tackles, by the way. All right. The drive for Cincinnati was 8 plays, 38 yards, and the fans were making an impact. They were making an impact. There was another false start by Cincinnati early on in this drive as well. Nebraska's next drive, 2 third-down catches by Dane Key. The next drive, this drive, they had 10 plays for 42 yards, capped by a 52-yard field goal by Kyle Cunanan. We kick field goals and we make them now. Oh, by the way, we punt the ball well now, too. We'll dive into that in just a minute. Start of the second quarter. The Black Shirts still kind of finding their footing, so to speak. They were running lots of twists and stunts. That's what you do when you're a little lighter. Okay, we don't have a big D line, but you're fast and athletic. They hadn't quite landed yet, though. A lot of those twists and stunts that they were doing hadn't quite landed yet. All right, the next series, the defense, though, right after I wrote that note, literally the defense forced a 3-and-out, and the defense looked really good on that drive. They proceeded to force 2 3-and-outs in a row. All right, we have our first super chat. Now, this is the first one I've ever done. So I want to thank you, all right, for that, John O'Reilly. And John O'Reilly simply says, thanks, Adam, for giving us your insights at midnight Central Time. I was going to bring my kids. They would have loved this. They would have freaking loved this. But I'm not going to get back to the hotel. We got a hotel about an hour outside of Kansas City because I'm so jacked up after games. There's no way I'm going to go home and go to sleep. But I'm not going to leave here till like 1, which is fine. But I'm like, Ange, I don't know if I can make it home by 4 a.m. and stay awake. So we got a hotel an hour outside of this. So I'll get there about 2:30. My kids would not have made that. So it's my pleasure. I love doing this. You never work a day in your life when you love what you're doing, right? All right. I'm going to try to figure out. Here we go. All right. Keep sending your questions, comments, thoughts, concerns, and or otherwise. Nebraska's 0-1. And yes, there's things that we need to work on. There's things that need to be better. It's game 1 ugliness. There's things that we did well. We got the win. Like, that's all I wanted was just to get the win. And again, you start to look ahead to Akron and Houston Christian and Michigan. Imagine if we'd lost this. Just imagine if we'd lost. Just imagine if we'd lost. I'm not even happy. Like, all right. I got to find my spot again. Okay. The Huskers' next drive. And this is where I felt like we should have ran power more tonight. Anytime we ran power, we were starting to push them back with the big offensive line, and Emmett ran hard. I felt like I wish we'd have ran power and just more physical football. Not even because that's what Nebraska has historically done for a long time. It's what was working. Cincinnati's they got a stud nose guard. Okay. But the rest of their defense isn't that big. I digress. Huskers' next drive, I wrote, starting to impose our will. O-line is pushing Cincinnati around. And then we tried 2 wide runs that didn't work close to the goal line. All right, we had a penalty. We actually had a couple of untimely penalties. An untimely penalty stalled our first drive. An untimely penalty here pretty much cost us probably a touchdown. We got a field goal instead. Elijah Pritchett, all right, had a false start penalty that moved the Huskers back from the goal line. We were much closer. We got moved back. Cam Lenhart earlier in this drive was in on a 3rd down conversion, by the way, at fullback. All right, Ty Robinson out. Best of luck with the Eagles. Cam Lenhart. Is that me causing the thumbs up? All right. Cam Lenhart is our new fullback in short yardage situations. Apparently, this was a 16-play drive for 80 yards. All right. And Nebraska's up 6-3 because we make field goals now. The Black Shirts dominate. The next series I wrote. Cincinnati goes nowhere. Williams Waneri, he showed some flashes tonight getting after the quarterback. You see why he was a 5-star. Was in on a couple of quarterback pressures. Bearcats looked discombobulated. By the way, I did not know how to spell that, but I know what I meant as I look at it here. And I want to give a shout out real quick. Okay. Shout out real quick to our sponsors. I want to give a shout out to DPS Concrete Construction. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, they are your local concrete experts, retaining wall experts. Nobody does it better. Check them out at dpsconstruction.net. It's actually Jason Armstrong's suite that I'm in right now. I went to the press box. Internet sucked. And I'm not that tech savvy. So I came here. The internet was great. Jason Armstrong owns dpsconstruction.net. If you want to work for a great guy, if you want this type of work done, it's DPS Concrete Construction. Check them out at dpsconstruction.net. Also, Husker Auto Group. I've bought 3 vehicles for my family since we moved to Lincoln last summer from Husker Auto Group. So we're putting our money where our mouth is. All right, all 2025 Chevy Silverado and GMC Sierras, half-ton, three-quarter-ton, and one-ton trucks in stock are up to $11,500 off MSRP. Over 100 trucks available, ready for immediate delivery. See HuskerAutomotive.com for details. Husker BMW of Lincoln also has 2025 model BMW X7s all-wheel drive marquee SUV available for immediate delivery for up to $8,000 off MSRP. Husker Auto Group is committed to delivering an excellent customer experience, conveniently located at North 27th and I-80. All right, let's get back to where I was. Nebraska had another promising drive, moving the ball that stalled after Dylan Raiola fumbled. Thank God he recovered the fumble that stalled the drive. And this is where I wrote, 19-year-old true freshman Australian punter Archie Wilson playing in his first, check this, he played Australian football, rules football, in his first American football game of his life tonight. I pinned Cincinnati inside their 9-yard line. He pinned them inside their 15, their 20, their 10 multiple times. It was huge. It was huge. All right. The Huskers hold a huge yardage advantage right now. I wrote Cincinnati's next drive goes nowhere. I believe that was another 3 and out. I have, actually, I take that back. This was the fumble. Vincent Shavers had a big hit, caused the fumble. All right, we get the ball at the Bearcat 24-yard line. Nebraska scores the first touchdown of the season. Dylan Raiola to Isaiah Hunter, 5-yard fade pass for a touchdown in the corner of the end zone. 11 seconds before halftime. And at halftime, Nebraska leads 13-3. Dylan Raiola's 13 of 19 for 121 yards, 1 touchdown. All right. And I made a note here. I'm pretty sure this is the first game Nebraska has played at Arrowhead Stadium since 2006 when we played Oklahoma in the Big 12 championship game. I played in that game. It was freaking freezing cold. It was my senior year. At halftime, Nebraska has 197 total yards of offense, Cincinnati 81. Nebraska ran 40 total plays, Cincinnati 23. Now, I can dive deeper into some of these stats. We were 6 of 10 on third down. They were 1 of 5. We finished over 500 third down conversion percentage at the end of the game. They finished at 30%. So we owned the third down portion of this deal. All right. Nebraska opens the second half with the ball, and you could tell Matt Rule, he wanted to put a dagger in. Okay, what did we lead? 13-3 at halftime. You could tell he wanted to put a dagger in. He wanted to end the game. All right. They get to the Cincinnati 43-yard line. They go for it on 4th and 2. Dylan Raiola, unfortunately, nearly threw a pick 6. And fortunately, the Cincinnati guy dropped the ball. Here's what happened on the play. Dylan had Emmett open early on. He looked away from Emmett, came back to him late, and by that time, he was covered. He threw the ball. Luckily, the Cincinnati Bearcat defender dropped the ball. Cincinnati ball on their 43-yard line. Cincinnati's next drive, 57 yards. Bearcats run the ball 7 times for 53 yards, converted a 4th and 2 of their own on a Brendan Sorsby keep of a read option. All right. Then Sorsby later in the drive ran the ball for a touchdown from the 7-yard line, scores now 13-10. And all of a sudden, I went from feeling like, ooh, we're going to put this game away to a little too uncomfortable. All right. I wrote, is Nebraska going to take over? Question mark. Can the Huskers try to deliver the hammer on their first drive of the second half? Unfortunately, almost the inverse happened when Cincinnati got the ball. And I wrote, personally, I'm a little uncomfortable right now with 6:53 left in the third quarter. Our next drive stalls. Cincinnati next drive stalls. Nebraska ball heading into the fourth quarter. The Huskers drive 13 plays, 67 yards, 7:01 off the clock. Another 4th and 2 from the 3-yard line. Rule goes again. Raiola hits Dane Key for the touchdown pass to put us up 20-10. And I'm like, all right, I feel much better now. So here's what happened before third down. Rule calls timeout. What was it, 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5? And we just do a little replay up the middle, or a little run play up the middle out of the shotgun. I'm like, what? What kind of a play call was that? We go to the line on 4th down. Little RPO. Fake the read play, the zone play right up the middle, hit him over the top. The 3rd down play by itself was a bad play call. It set up 4th down because it looked the exact same. Little RPO pass over the top, wide open for the touchdown. Great execution, great play call, tandem play call. All right, individually, I did not like 3rd down. When I saw 4th down, I was like, that makes a lot more sense. Great tandem play call. All right, the Bearcats, this is where the Blackshirts, man, we got to step up in the fourth quarter, which we did with a pick to close the game. But The Bearcats, 9 plays, 75-yard drive. Quarterback Brendan Sorsby, 1-yard touchdown run. Sorsby is a baller, I wrote, just a football player. And I said that coming into this game as well. He is. The Blackshirts have to find a way to limit him more. It looked too easy on that last drive. Can Nebraska close out the game? That's what I wrote. Can you read my god-awful handwriting? Can Nebraska close out the game? The last drive was too easy for Cincinnati. Let's go, Blackshirts. On a side note, punter Archie Wilson looked good, okay, and pinned Cincinnati again inside their 20. Now, we did have, I think, 2 or 3 kickoff returns, 2 of our own that did not reach the 25-yard line. We need to continue to improve our return game as a whole. Nebraska ball. Now, last drive, Dylan Raiola did take off and run. He's not the most fleet of foot guy in the world, but he's also not as slow as some people think he is. He looked decisive doing it. He took off without hesitation. That's what I liked. That's improvement from last year. Right now, at this point in time in the game, I wrote Emmett Johnson's at 24 carries for 104 yards. All right. We've tried to get Janiran Bonner, who they consider to be a very physical player, physical runner of the ball, a couple of sweeps outside the edge. Not a ton of success there. The Huskers' next drive stalls after a couple lost yardage plays, including a sack. Cincinnati ball, their own 9-yard line. Archie Wilson pinned him inside their 10 again with 2:10 left to play. It's up to the Blackshirts. Nebraska, do we have the clutch gene? Cincinnati is scrappy. They're better than last year. Okay, that's what I wrote. 2 minutes to go. About 2 minutes to go. Bearcats have the ball, and they're driving with 34 seconds to go. They drove down the field. Credit to them. Malcolm Hartzog intercepts the ball in the back of the end zone to seal the win for Nebraska. The Huskers are your 2025 Kansas City Classic champs. All right, big-time play to seal the game. Now, I've got my final thoughts here. That's all this last sheet is. I'm going to save that for the end because I want to get to some of your questions. All right, what do we got here? Now, no big deal, says punt the ball on 4th down. Yeah, I'm not going to fault a coach for being aggressive and trying to put the game away. I watched Bill Belichick. I watched Bill Belichick go for in the AFC Championship game versus the Colts on his own 26-yard line. They didn't make it. I honestly don't remember if New England won the game, but my point is, if you're trying to win the game, I got no problem with being aggressive. If we convert that, I bet you're not writing that. Okay. Oh, Andrew says 2-1 is possible. Yes, those 1 and 2. How dare you? How dare you, Andrew? We're going to be 33-0 by the time we play Michigan. I'm legit excited because we really needed this win. This was almost like a fragility test of this game. Because if we lose, all this talk, all this hype, all this national college football playoff stuff, which I'm not a part of yet. Yeah, I got to see more. Fragile, it's Italian, like the Christmas movie. I don't know what would have happened. They found a way to win, things to work on. They made the clutch play with the game on the line. Kudos to them. All right. Cameron says, dadgummit, I lost $110, but I don't care. I'm freaking happy. In classic Nebraska fashion, it could have went the other way, but it didn't. I'm with you, man. All right, let's see what else we got here. All right, Brett, thank you for the super chat. Thoughts on Nebraska giving up huge chunk runs, and was it 0 quarterback pressures on passes? How do we fix it? I don't know if there was 0 Well, Waneri was back there a couple of times. There was some other time. I would have liked to have seen more quarterback pressures. I will need more time to dive into the exact stats. I try to write down everything as I can throughout the game. I have more stats throughout the game than I do at the end of the game because once the end of the game hits, I'm trying to get to my gut reaction. I will do my next show Saturday morning. Well, I'm going to record it tomorrow. Oh, by the way, I'm going to record 2 shows tomorrow. A deeper analysis of this game, which will go out Saturday morning. Okay, watch my show before you watch other college football games. Goodness gracious. And I'm recording an interview with Bill Bush. Just got off the phone as I pulled into Arrowhead Stadium. Going to go out Sunday night. Giving up huge chunk runs. It's a little bit of a gamble when you're undersized, you're athletic. You're not just going to line up and hit 320-pound linemen in the mouth every down. You're just not built to do that. You're going to have to stunt. And what they were doing, a run twist. You're going to get penetrating tackles for loss in the backfield. You're also going to give up some creases. It's what we're going to see this year. Just got to limit the big plays. Okay, and 0 quarterback pressures. We do got to get more consistent pressure on them. Again, I don't know the sack numbers and pressure numbers just yet. Like, again, once that game ends, I'm trying to get to this gut reaction. I will do a deep dive later. I know all the stats throughout the game up until the end. Okay, but those are my thoughts on that. Thanks for the super chat, Brett. We got another one from Justin Tiemans. I hope I said that right. Hey, Adam, what do you think about the play calling? Some of the stuff seemed kind of Satterfield-esque. Holgerson is trying to run his offense a little bit more pro-style-esque because I think that's what Rule wants within the Big Ten. Now, I'm not saying Rule's dictating what Holgerson can or cannot do. I guarantee Rule's more hands-on with the defense. He's more of a defensive guy than he is the offense. When you got a guy like Dana Holgerson, you trust that dude. I mean, it's that simple. But I think he's trying to evolve as a play caller, as an offensive coordinator, and run certain things within the almost pro-style Big Ten type of offense that he likes to do. If it was up to me, just be Dana Holgerson and run whatever the heck you want to. But I don't know what's been dictated by the head coach. They have a reason they're doing things. That third down play call that I alluded to, the third and goal from the 4-yard line, it was just an inside zone from the shotgun. I was like, this is god awful. What are we doing? Bam, fourth down, RPO looks the exact same. Hit the little dunk pass over the top for the touchdown. So he's trying to do things to set up other plays. Sometimes if you look at one play in a vacuum, you're not looking at what he's setting up, whether it be the second half or the very next play or the very next series or the very next drive. A lot of times an offensive coordinator will call a play, okay, just to see what the defense does and how they react. Like a quarterback might hand off, carry out a fake. Well, he really isn't interested if the zone run play works. Of course, he wants it to, but he's watching, is that end going to keep contained if I run a boot with the quarterback? Or if I run a play action pass and hit a guy in the flat? So sometimes they're setting up other things. All right, Craig says the timing on Akron and Houston Christian is perfect. Can work on ironing out problems. I couldn't agree more. Could not frickin' agree more. I keep sending in your questions, your comments, your thoughts, your concerns. Let me know here. Trying to see if there's there's a lot of thoughts here. I want to get to my summation of the game, though, real quick. Here's what I wrote. All right. I'm just going to read it as it goes down. Okay. You can snapshot that or just listen. Wasn't pretty. Things to work on. Offense not explosive. Some untimely penalties. Game 1 of the year. I expect there to be sloppiness. 3.1 yards per rush. You want more than that. Now, you want more than that. That's not explosive. 5.8 yards per pass, not explosive. We've got to be efficient, but more explosive than a year ago. Those numbers remind me of a year ago when it comes to yards per play type stats. Defense had a hard time finding second half consistency. Things we need to work on. Here's what we did well. The defense made the key play in the key moment to get the interception to seal the game at the end of the game. All right, the offense outgained Cincinnati by almost 90 yards, okay, and really controlled the game until the middle part of the fourth quarter. I'd like to control the middle part of the fourth quarter too. The kicking units are much, much improved, okay? So kicking units are better. Offensive efficiency is better. The defense showed flashes. Okay, the defense needs to find more consistency, the offense a little bit more explosive, and we need a little bit better return games out of our special teams, the coverage games and the kicking games, field goal, punting, great. Okay, I don't want to overreact to every game this year. Every game is not the Super Bowl. I'm going to try to be calmer, as I was just uber excited through the roof. I will allow myself to overreact in wins, but in losses, which we're going to have none, but in case we do at some point, I'm not going to overreact because we can lose 2 games, 3 games, and still have what's considered a very good season and a jump. 2 games if you want to make the college football playoff, which I have not personally discussed just yet. So I'm going to work on not overreacting to games. I hear my questions for you fine folks at home. Now, these questions are brought to you, all right, by Husker Auto Group. Check them out at huskerautomotive.com. Also, Chronicles.com. It's where your Husker sports hopes and dreams will come true. It's just science. Ladies and gentlemen, let me know your answer in the comments below, wherever you're watching this video, especially on YouTube. Number 1, do you feel good about this win? Number 2, what was the most positive thing you saw in this win? And number 3, what's the thing that needs the most work, in your humble opinion, going forward for Nebraska? All right, let me see if there's anything else I want to get to real quick before we head on out of here. Man, Run defense, consistency in the run defense. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, until next time, go Big Red Nose. Remember to throw the ball.